Hi everyone. As I had mentioned in my email to you earlier today, I wanted to just create a short video for you here to again review the templates so as to better explain the assignment that you're doing for this week. So on the assignment for this week, reading activities, activity 1, page 39, you kind of have to sift through a lot of directions there, which again, I know that sometimes these aren't the best assessments from your perspective because it's easier to do things from a step-by-step basis, but as we all know in the workplace, you would be given more general information. You'd have to figure out what to do from there. So that's why in the second level of these classes, and more so even in the second year of the administrative assistant program, we do more of this sort of stuff to kind of take the information you have and have to figure out what to do with it. So what I want to do here actually is I grabbed one of your fellow classmates' letterheads, so you could see here's one that somebody turned in. And actually I'm going to close this for a second because I wanted to show you the template file here on my desktop. When you look at template files, when you're looking at your files like you see here on my desktop, here's a regular file. Not saved as a template. Notice the template file has that little blue line at the top, so I can see just by looking at it that it's a template file. Obviously, as well as if I hover over it, I can see that it says it's a Microsoft Word template. Notice it's a .dotx file. That means template as well. So when you turn your assignments in and you submit a template file, I can tell right away if it's saved as a template file because it'll have the .dotx after your file name. Now you don't have to put that on there when you go to save it. It saves it with that on there for you. But so that's the first thing I wanted to show you. In this particular case, the template was created just like you did for the Humane Society assignment. This one is going to be similar, and while I didn't say that before, I would like you to use the template, the CM template that you're supposed to create. They have you creating that template. It just says to create a new document and then save it as a template. It doesn't tell you to do anything with it. But I'd like you to do for this assignment what you did for the Humane Society assignment, and that you put those building blocks in the template. You build it into the template. And really the main reason for that, well, a couple things. I think it's a good idea because it's a template file, so it'll have all those building blocks in there for you. And then also when you send it to me, I can see that you saved it as the building blocks in your file. Versus if you save it to the regular normal .template or the building blocks, I don't see that on my end. All I can see is that you've inserted the building blocks. So a couple things again in regards to templates. If I want to open the actual template itself, I would need to right click on it and choose open. And notice when Word opens it now, notice hsletterhead.dotx. I could tell this is the actual template file. So any changes I make to this will be made to the template. If I want to open a new blank file from the template, I would double click it. And then notice it says document 1 there. So I just want to reiterate that difference between the two. So double click on the file itself. It's going to open a new blank document from that file, which would include all of the qualities of the template itself. The other thing I just want to mention is that when you let me go back into here. When you go to save the file as a template, I just want to make sure, again, if I browse here, and the second I choose Word template here to save that, it's going to put it on your computer. It's going to put it in what it thinks, in a place that it thinks it should be, the Office template files, the Office template folder. If you don't move this somewhere else, like I could say, well, I don't want it saved here. I want it saved on my desktop instead, which is what I did. It'll have it in that template file instead. So if you've saved that file and you just can't seem to find it, that's probably where it is. You would go into your documents file, go into this Office templates, and there's your templates that you saved. So I could click on desktop here. I can tell it where I want to go. But the second you choose template from this file, it's going to flip it to be in the template folder. So you want to just be sure to really pay attention to where that's saving. Okay, going back here. What I want to do now is I want to save these quick parts in my template file. So you can do this a couple different ways. I could actually do it from right here from this document one because I'm going to use these that are in here. So if I go to insert right now, I go to quick parts, I can see that they're not in here. This is from a different assignment that we did earlier. So I can do it right from here. I could also open up my template file and save it right in the template file. So I can go to open here and I could save the quick parts to this file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I opened up my template file. You've created your letterhead. Now you want to get the quick parts as a part of this as well. So I'm going to select all of this so I can get this saved. Remember, we go to insert, we go to quick parts, and I can choose to save selection. And I'm going to call this HS letterhead. And notice what it says right here, save in. And so I want to make sure that it's saving to my template file. So that's the one thing you have to double check there. I'll click OK. And now if I go into quick parts, I'll see, here it is right here. I'm going to do the same thing for the footer. Oops, I'm going to stay in there. And I'll go to insert and quick parts, save selection to, I'm going to choose HS footer here. And again, making sure that it's saved in my letterhead template here. So I'm going to click OK. Now right now, the letterhead is actually part of the template. So if I don't want this to always pop up in here, I don't have to have it in here. I could delete this out of here. And then I can, that's saved as quick parts, so I can always reinsert it later on. So I'm going to close the header and footer, and then I'm going to save. This is going to save to my template, and I can still see here, even though I deleted, my header and footer are still in here because I saved them as quick parts. I can save here, and then I can close it. And now if I double click on my template, I'll see my letterhead's gone because I just deleted it. But if I go into my quick parts here, I'll see that it's still here because I saved it to my template. So I know that I saved my quick parts in there. I know that I can always pull those in now if I, oops, I don't want to do it that way, sorry. I want to be in my header before I insert that. And then I can add those pieces in at that point. So I hope that this helps clarify a couple things when it comes to headers and footers, and I'm sorry, not headers and footers, when it comes to templates. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the quick parts is not synonymous with a template. You don't have to have these as part of a template. It just is, you know, templates would really be something you would use in something that you use all the time. So if you find yourself, like this is a perfect example of using a template, saving a letterhead, you could call it, you know, we called it HS, I called it HS letterhead, which had the actual letterhead saved into it. You could just do that. You wouldn't even have to have the quick parts. So as I mentioned, I believe in an earlier email or in one of my announcements, all of these things we're learning in MBA 1, some of these things you might think, oh, that's kind of cool, or other things you might think, yeah, I'm never going to use this in what I'm doing. But, you know, it's good to know all these different options, and then you can decide later on what's most helpful for you in the workplace. So instead of saving these as quick parts, we could simply, like we had before, save this header right in as a template. Anytime you wanted to type a letter to someone that it needed your letterhead on it, you would open the letterhead template. Boom, there's your letterhead. You start typing your letter. So the other thing you could do right away as well as part of the template is having the no spacing style turned on. You could have the proper, you know, for anything that you wanted to set up, the font that you want to use, the style, the colors, everything can be set up as part of your template. And then all that's ready to go for you when you're ready to type your letters. The one last thing that it had in the Humane Society that isn't that part of this was the building blocks of the signatures. Actually, they do have you doing those as building blocks. So in the end, again, what I'm going to be looking for when I open up your letterhead template, because what I'll do is I'll open it like this, where I actually open your template and I look to see what building blocks you have in there. So when you open up your letterhead template at home, you should be able to go to insert and see that you have your information in here. The other thing I should mention while I'm talking here is, well, what if you have it saved, but it's not saved to your template? Then you can right click on it within here. You can go to Edit Properties and you can save it. So I could say now, actually, you might have it on the normal .m template, or it might be in the building blocks template. And then you would just flip it. So if you accidentally saved it into the wrong spot, then you can go ahead and change it this way as well. The last thing I want to mention is if you want to delete one of these, you can go into, what was I going to do? Oh, organize and delete. And then you can look it up. The easiest way to look up your building blocks is to click the name option here and then look for it in alphabetical order. So we named ours HS for Humane Society, and I can go find it. I can see it here, a little screenshot of it, and I can hit delete. Same thing with here. I can click on the letterhead, click, and then hit delete if I wanted to get rid of them. So that's the way to get rid of it. If you have too many in there and you just want to get rid of those in your file, you can do that too. So I hope this is helpful. What I'll still be looking for is that you have, you'll have the building blocks in your template file. So your cmtemplate.dotx will have the building blocks in it. Your CM letter will just be the plain letter, and then you'll have your 3 individual letters, which you would build it off the template. So you'd open the template, you would address it to the various people, and then you would put the letter in there as well. So a little different than we did the Humane Society, where you did like a little mail merge. In this case, it's only a few people, and this is an example of something that maybe documents you send to people, these same people all the time. And that's why they saved it as a building block versus a merge. You could argue you could do it either way, whichever way you'd prefer. But for this assignment, I want it saved as building blocks. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Sorry, this video got to be a little longer than I had planned. But hoping that you have a better understanding of templates and the building blocks within them. Let me know if you have any questions.